So here's an older video you're about to watch. I didn't post it until now because even though it's been months ago, I suddenly felt a conviction to, and it's about how God can use you on vacation. Just keep in mind, this is before the passing of Samuel, just to give you guys some context for it. So keep that in mind, and your testimony is always growing. I'm not the person that I was in this video that you're about to watch because I'm changing. We're all always changing, and your testimony is a testament to it. So here lately, I've been focusing on Deuteronomy 31:8, and I'm going to read that to you real quick, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about how God can send you anywhere, even whenever you're on vacation, as long as you're willing to listen and obey. So Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. So for a little context, it's Moses talking to Joshua and telling him he's about to lead Israel, God's people. Let me see. So we have verse 8. The Lord is the one who will go before you. He will be with you. He will not leave you or abandon you. Do not be afraid or discouraged. It says the Lord is the one who will go before you. And that's what I've been focusing on lately. Like here lately, I've been focusing on just God in general, like going before you. Like let him go before you because his plans are better than ours. And I just want to say, like, every time, I'm not special, but every time I go on any type of vacation or out anywhere, then it's like, it's almost like there's a side quest or a mission. And sometimes as long as we can like feel him working through us, it's powerful. Like, I mean, we can do so much if we just listen to the still small voice. And so what I want to go over with you is some notes of things that happened during vacation, not to brag about anything, but just to go over it with you. You know, like I'm wanting to share this with you. So the focal point before I even went on vacation, I knew that something was going to happen. I didn't know what, but I knew God was sending us and he was going before us. So it was a small family vacation and super short, but we actually went a day early. My wife and I went a day early. We went a day ahead of everybody else. But the funny thing is we didn't pick the hotel. Somebody else picked out the hotel. And when they picked out the hotel, I feel like they were being led to pick out this hotel. And whenever I explain everything to you, it'll make sense. But it's Deuteronomy 31, and I even made a little like coloring thing. I used AI, heads up, but I photoshopped a hand in there and I colored it. And so I might throw that up here somewhere, but I want to share that. So, and I do that just for a visualization for me. Let's see. It's I will go before you is what I was focusing on. And when we got there, we went to watch David, the Sight and Sound play. We were heading there. When we were heading into town, I noticed just this elderly couple on my right. And it was whenever we were downtown. There was an older man. He was about, 6 foot tall or so. And he had on like a veteran's hat. And then there's an older lady who had like one of those 80s style old lady mullet haircuts. And I don't know why, they just stuck out to me. And so we're driving by, and when we finally, about 10 or so minutes later, get into the parking lot looking for a spot, they're walking right in front of us. And I was like, well, that was crazy. They were headed to the same place, and I mean, out of nowhere, I for some reason I noticed them. Thought that was weird. So didn't meet them again. I just thought that was interesting to share, and you'll see why. So later on, we get our seats, and I took a picture. I might put one up here, but before the play started, and then my wife commented that there was somebody like maybe blogging or something like that, vlogging behind us, and that it was a family. And so I thought that was interesting and watched the play. Play was really good, by the way. It actually had very, very close context. And if you've never seen Sights and Sounds, I think there's one in Pennsylvania and one in Branson, Missouri. I'd recommend it. It's pretty cool. You could smell everything. Like, you could smell the animals, and they walked past you. And it went all the way up to, the play went all the way up to David and Bathsheba. But the interesting thing was it was the same guy through most of it, but he was singing higher pitched, and then he went lower later on, which I thought was cool because it was showing the transition. That was just something interesting I noticed. But so the next morning, play was good, but the next morning, I'm moving on, then we went down for breakfast, and she kind of told me, she was like, hey, look, the people in front of us are the people that were behind us. Like, the people eating directly in front of us, like a couple tables over, is the one I was talking about. And I was like, that's interesting. So I started talking to the guy, maybe the dad. Anyways, I was talking to him. It was him and his wife, or the lady he was with, and then the child that was with them. And I say child, he was kind of a little bit of special needs, and he was older, but you could still tell. And I thought that was interesting. They asked him to pray over the food, and when they asked him to, at the end of it, he was like sing-song, and he was kind of stimming, and he said, in Holy Spirit. And it was so awesome. I mean, it was just awesome. I loved it. So it really made me smile. And he gets done with his plate, and he goes over there, and he walks over to the next room, and there's this piano there. He just starts playing, and it's amazing. Like, he changed the room. Like, he changed the entire room. I mean, everything was focused on him, but everybody was just conversing with each other. I mean, it was genuine. It's not something that could be reenacted. I mean, that's not artificial right there. It was amazing. It was God working through him, and it was cool to see. So he has this ability. Apparently, his mother was telling us that from the time he was born, the doctors told her that he wouldn't be able to walk or even talk. They didn't think he would be able to. And he's sitting there playing the piano in front of us. He was given a little piano whenever he was 2, if I'm getting the story right. It was whenever he was 2. And he learned to play it by ear. It was amazing. So he didn't even learn to walk until around the time he was 7. So I found that fascinating. But my point in sharing this is, like, he can hear just a little bit. He'll put it up to his ear. He'll put a phone up to his ear, listen to the whole song, and then play it. The State Farm tune went on during a commercial, and just for kicks, he played it. And it was pretty cool. But I'll put a little bit right there. I actually asked him to play an Ann Wilson song, and I don't think I got that recorded. If I did, I'll have to check. But I actually made it onto his post because I started following him on the thing, but on social media. But my point is, it was very interesting. That's just one instance or 2 instances of how God goes before you, and how sometimes we bump into people, and it's not just happenstance. Like, we had great conversation with them afterwards. So I just wanted to share that. And also, oddly enough, every time I go on vacation, something like that happens. I might be on a video of something that happened in the background of like a viral video, or I don't know, there was one time that I was recorded some people were asking me questions, but it's just random little spots where God's like, hey, look, I'm using you, or be ready to be on the camera, because heads up, I don't like being on the camera. Never have. I might go over that later if you guys want me to, but another thing that happened, so since we arrived a day early, we were able to bump into them and have breakfast and then talk to them afterwards. We would not have been able to do that, and we wouldn't have been able to bump into them at the hotel if somebody else wouldn't have already suggested the hotel for us to go to. So we had a family member suggest which hotel to go to. So God works in every little detail and through different people. I'm not special. I just want to keep on reiterating that, but I'm going to go down some more. I'm looking through my bullet points that I'm wanting to get to. Also, when the family left, my wife and I thought we had an extra day, so we just left and went and got something to eat and came back to the hotel. We didn't have an extra day. We went up to the room. Our doors were locked. The key wasn't working. We were like, what's going on? And so we had to go downstairs, talk to the guy. And through this, I wasn't like panicking. I was like, Lord, what are you doing? What are we doing? Like, what's going on? What do you need us to do for you? So after that, I realized the mission wasn't over. So the day goes by, and we get everything's okay. They let us keep our room an extra night. Nothing's wrong. Pay for it, move on. But that night, my wife didn't feel very good, and she was needing some Tylenol. So I was looking, didn't see any, went to the vehicle, or grabbed my keys to go to the vehicle in case I needed to go to the Walmart. Just in case, I grabbed the keys. And what happened was, I was like, wait, I'll check the gift shop first, but I grabbed the keys just in case I needed to go to Walmart. So I go to the gift shop. Goodness, they have these little packs of Tylenol that are like $2 a piece. And I mean, that's highway robbery. But anyways, going on, I grabbed a couple of them because that's still worth more than going to Walmart and driving there. I grabbed a couple of them. There's a guy warming up some noodles, and I was like, hey, can I check out? And he was in the gift shop, and he was like, oh, no, he'll get you. So he said, oh, no, he'll get you. So I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking about the things that we had bought that day and the things that are going through my mind. Like I bought this. It's a Bible verse. It's got a shield on it. I'll talk more about that later probably. But got some bracelets too, like this. It's just got a cross on it. And I had already left one in the hotel room just because I felt like I needed to. So I left one there. And I felt like I was going to need to give one to someone. So I'm talking to this guy that's checking me out, and I said, oh, how are you? And he said something really like, I don't know, barely like nonchalant, like I'm blessed or something like that. Or I said I'm blessed, something like that. And that sparked an entire conversation. And he started talking to me about God. And then about halfway through, I just kept on hearing it. Like, give him a bracelet, give him a bracelet. And then he, whenever I was feeling that urge, then I told him, I was like, hey, I think I have something for you when you get done with your story. And then in the middle of his story, he was telling me about how God talks to him differently. Or he said that he doesn't hear God, but he tries to be obedient and prayerful and just for God's will to be done. And he's telling me the story about this lady that came in a couple days ago. And or a couple weeks ago before me, and he said she was praying and she was just studying and talked to him and said, "Hey, I take this with me. It's a cross, but I'll hold up this as an example." She said, "I take this with me everywhere I go." And she said she had the little cross, and she said, "But I'm leaving it with you." She felt like she needed to leave it with him. So, I mean, that was God reaching out to him and just giving him a little nudge of encouragement. And then me and him talking for probably 5 minutes. That was his encouragement that he needed. That was the reason. That was the reason that we stayed an extra night. I mean, if we wouldn't have stayed the extra night, we wouldn't have given that guy the encouragement he needed. And when I say we, I mean, my wife was just as much of a part of it as I was. Even though she wasn't feeling well, she just so happened to be out of Tylenol, and I decided to go to the gift shop instead of going to Walmart. God will use you anywhere. Like, you just have to be willing to be obedient, mindful, and let him use you. You know, be selfless, and there's no telling what will happen. I mean, I've had so many crazy encounters that it's fascinating the way that he can use someone who's a no one like me. And I mean, I'm sitting here talking to you now. I don't know how many people are going to see this, but it doesn't matter. The one who needs it will. I mean, I was the guy who was always afraid to go sharpen your pencil in middle school, or junior high. I mean, I hated it. I hated getting up in front of people, and now I've been sent to a podcast before. I mean, I hate being in front of the camera. I've always been behind the camera. I love photography. I don't like being the guy on the video, but God has a purpose for this. And so the reason I'm sharing all this and rambling is because God can use you too. My name's not Joshua, and Moses wasn't directly talking to me. So I know that I'm not taking that verse out of context, but that verse spoke to me tremendously, and I wanted to share that with you guys and just kind of, I guess, give you a small update. And this is probably going to be the longest video that I've recorded, and I normally do shorts, but I try to do different styles because different people need different things. If you are a visual learner, maybe like the visual aids that I put up here will help. So I try to just be mindful of that and put different ones. And also, like with my Bible, I've started doing something. I think it's cool. I don't know if you guys are going to think it's cool, but what I'll do is I will take my Bible, take a picture of it, and then snap a little segment of it. Like hopefully I'll put one right there or something, so that you can see the verse when I'm talking about it straight out of my Bible. I'm not going to guarantee that I'm going to do that every time, because sometimes I like taking pictures or making graphics to go with it. But that's just something I've started doing, and it's really cool to me because it feels more genuine. So, like always, don't follow me, follow Jesus, and ask God where your mission is, because we all have one. And if you guys want to comment anything below, then tell me about your experience of something that you've been through where God used you. And it could be at the grocery store, or it could be on vacation. If God used you on vacation, tell me, hey, he used me on vacation. I met this guy, this girl, talked to them about this, gave them this word of encouragement. I mean, just, be a community and figure out how he's going to use you next. When you feel that urge, then just answer the call. Till next time.